today's Torah portion, today's message, is a certain message that a lot of people sometimes overlook or sometimes don't deal with. And as I was on this Facebook group, and the sister had posted this stuff about how once you're divorced, you can't get remarried and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And I knew where she was coming from, and I knew where she was at an error with, and I was like, okay, well, let me talk. And, you know, whenever someone in a group that I'm in says something and I know that it can really lead a lot of people down the wrong path, I normally jump in and say something. When they talking about stuff that don't really, I don't want to say don't really mean nothing, but it's not that vital, then I sort of just browse by it and keep it moving. But as she brought it up, and then I was sitting there getting ready to engage in a conversation, I read through the Torah portion, I said, wow, this is sort of dealing with sort of the same type of situation. I said, okay, and it was like the Father was showing me that maybe this is something that you need to expound more on, because some people don't know. And some people might hear it, and you can't just assume just because you know something that everybody else knows what you know. So I'm not going to keep you long. So everyone, please stand with me as I bless the Torah, as we bless the Torah. Baraku et Yahweh Ambarak. Baruch Yahweh Ambarak le'olam wa'ed. Bless Yahweh, the blessed one. Blesses Yahweh, the blessed one, for all eternity. Baruch atah Yahweh Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher bakar banu mikol ha'amin walatalanu et torato. Baruch atah Yahweh nothen ha'torah. Amen. Blessed art thou, Yahweh Elohim, ruler of the universe, who has chosen us from all people to give us his Torah. Blessed are you, O Yahweh, giver of the Torah. You may be seated. I'm going to come from the book of Bamidbar, or Numbers, the 5th chapter, and verse 11. So the 5th chapter of Numbers and verse 11. And Yahweh spoke unto Moshe, saying, speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, if any man's wife go aside and commit a trespass against him, and a man lie with her carnally, and it be hid from the eyes of her husband, and be kept close, and she be defiled, and there be no witness against her, neither she be taken with the manner. And the spirit of jealousy come upon him, and he be jealous of his wife, and she be defiled. Or if the spirit of jealousy come upon him, and he be jealous of his wife, and she is not defiled, then the man shall bring his wife unto the priest, and he shall bring her offering for her, a 10th part of an ephah of barley meal. He shall pour no oil upon it, nor put frankincense thereon, for it is an offering of jealousy, an offering of memorial, bringing iniquity to remembrance. So, Excuse me because sometimes people say, you act like people don't know stuff. So excuse me if I do that in that manner, but I'm really just want to really just break this down and not just gloss over it. So then we got a situation where the father is showing how he wanted to handle a jealous husband versus what we have today where they can go on Maury and he can get the test and say the results are in. So that problem that we see and that everybody's drawn to with the drama and all that stuff that we see on Maury, is stuff that is not nothing new. And just like those men whose wives been pleading with them, saying, I'm not doing nothing, they be on the TV, I'm not doing nothing, and finally, after Maury says, she's telling the truth. Then he's relieved that, oh, baby, I'm so sorry, I should have always trust you, and beg, and get down and kiss her feet, and all this other stuff. Well, that feeling of relief that the husband receives through Maury is the same type of feeling of relief that the husband gets after he performs this task. The father put it in place to curb this spirit of jealousy that comes upon him. So it's saying whether she did something or not. He just has this feeling like you did something, you're doing something, something's not right. So the father tells him to bring in this offering to the priest. And this offering is a mincha offering or a meal offering, but it's not like the regular mincha offerings that get oil or get frankincense or get any of these things upon it. It's just to be the flour and water, nothing else. And the thing that he did to set that apart was because this was to bring up an iniquity. So verse 16 says, and the Kohen or priest shall bring her near and shall set her before Yahweh. And the priest shall take holy water in an earthen vessel, and of the dust that is in the floor of the tabernacle, the priest shall take and put it into the water. So, imagine this scene. You have this wife who may be guilty, may not be guilty. And she has to go through this ordeal. They say she has to uncover her head, which was something during that time period that they would have felt was shameful. So she has to uncover her head. She has to basically humiliate herself in order to prove her innocence or to be condemned for her defilement. Now, a lot of this ordeal the sages teach was done because the way they're trying to look at it was done to kind of get the woman, if she did do something, to just say, hold up, I want to go through all this process. I just come clean, so forth and so on. And as I said earlier, it was done to wrest this spirit of jealousy that was upon the husband. So then the priest would take some water and then go to, in the tabernacle, and they said he didn't just get any dust. He would lift up a certain towel on the floor and scrape up some dust and put it in the water. And this is not water that he's going to put it. She has to drink this. So I want you just to picture this. It says, and the priest or the Kohen shall set the woman before Yahweh and uncover the woman's head and put the offering of memorial in her hands, which is the jealousy offering. So this ephah, or this minka, which is the ephah of flour and the water, is now to be in her hands, sort of mushy and dripping. And the Kohen shall have in his hand the bitter water, that water that got the dust from the floor, that causes a curse. And the Kohen shall charge her by an oath and say unto her, unto the woman, if no man has lain with thee, and if thou hast not gone aside to uncleanness with another instead of thy husband, be thou free from this bitter water that causes the curse. So that was the lie detector. If the curse didn't overtake her, then she's telling the truth. If it did, that was a lie. It says, but if thou hast gone aside to another instead of thy husband, and if thou be defiled, and some man has lain with thee besides thine husband, then the Kohen shall charge the woman with an oath of cursing, not cussing, but cursing. I had to explain to one of my students, they was using profanity. I said, y'all just right in here in front of me just cussing. He said, it's not cussing, Mr. Dallas, it's cursing. I said, well, actually, it's not cursing. I said, cursing is when you put a curse on someone. So if I was to say, or like say, I know you might hear parents say this, you ain't going to be nothing just like your father. That is a curse. I mean, but if your father's good, then that could be a blessing. But if his track record is not, then so the priest is to give her oath of cursing. It says, and the priest shall say unto the woman, Yahweh make thee a curse and an oath among thy people, when Yahweh do make thy thigh to rot or fall, and thy belly to swell. And this water that causes the curse shall go into thy bowels to make thy belly to swell, and thy thigh to rot. And the woman shall say, Amen, Amen. Or, so let it be, so let it be. So this whole ordeal that the woman is going through, the sages are saying that through each step, as it gets closer and closer, if she is guilty, the hope is that she's going to just say, all right, I don't want all that stuff to happen. But if she is not and is vindicated, but in order to prove it to her husband, and she goes through this ordeal. And as she's vindicated through the ordeal, then that should kill this spirit of jealousy that's upon him. Then it says, and the Kohen shall write these curses in a book, and he blot them out with the bitter water. In other words, he is to write this curse on a scroll of paper. And now that scroll of paper with the ink and the stuff that makes the paper is now dipped in this water that already has the dirt in it that she has to drink. It says, verse 24, and he shall cause the woman to drink the bitter water that causes the curse. And the water that causes the curse shall enter into her and become bitter. Then the priest shall take the jealousy offering out of the woman's hands and shall wave the offering before Yahweh and offer it upon the altar. And the priest shall take a handful of the offering, even the memorial thereof, and burn it upon the altar. And afterwards shall cause the woman to drink the water. And when he has made her to drink the water, then it shall come to pass that if she is or was defiled and had committed trespass against her husband, that the water that causes the curse shall enter into her and become bitter, and her belly shall swell, and her thighs shall rot, and the woman shall be a curse among her people. And if the woman was not defiled, but was clean, then she shall be free and conceive children or bear seed. I want to deal with the free part for a minute before I go further. What do you think she's going to be free of? Yeah, she's going to be free of the treatment that he may have been treating her, because in his mind she was doing something that he felt she was out of order with doing. And the stigmatization that it caused in the community, because her going through this ordeal, everybody knows. It says, this is the law of jealousy. Normally in Hebraic circle it's called the sota, which means a suspected adulteress. It says, this is the law of jealousy. When a wife goes aside to another instead of her husband and is defiled, or when the spirit of jealousy comes upon him, and he be jealous over his wife, and shall set the woman before Yahweh, and the priest shall execute upon her all this law. Then shall the man be guiltless from iniquity, and this woman shall bear her iniquity. Now, what does that have to do with what I was saying earlier when I started off about the post and a young lady with the post about divorce? Everything. Let's go to Matthew, the 19th chapter. In Matthew's, the 19th chapter, starting at the first verse, this chapter is dealing with an issue concerning divorce. And what a lot of people don't know, because many of us don't read Hebrew or don't know Greek, because that's basically what the words was translated from in this renewed covenant, was from the Greek language. Many of us not knowing Greek, when we read it in English, when we see that word divorce, we think that and it's repeated over and over, we think that that's just one word. But in actuality, it's two. And both of them means different things. So in Matthew chapter 19, or Matthew chapter 19, verse 1, it reads, "And it came to pass that when Yahshua had finished these sayings, he departed from Galilee and came into the coast of Yehuda or Judea beyond the Jordan. And great multitudes followed him, and he healed them there." So Yahshua is coming from Galilee into the coast of Judah along the Jordan, and as soon as he gets in the town, there's swarms of people around him, and he's healing the sick among them. And we had this group of people watching that don't like this, known as the Pharisees. So in verse 3 it says, "The Pharisees also came unto him." But they didn't come to him for him to heal them or for no blessing. It says they came unto him tempting him and saying unto him, "Is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause?" Now, some of your versions might say, "Is it lawful for a man to divorce his wife for every cause?" But it actually should read just as I read, "put away." Now, side note, the reason why the Pharisees and the Sadducees and any of these other people will come up to Yahshua and challenge him on the law or on the Torah is because in the Torah it says if someone comes among you and is performing all kind of great miracles and signs, and then they tell you to go against the Torah, then they're a false prophet and you can kill them. Say it again. All right. If someone comes among you and they're performing miracles and signs and wonders, and as they attract you with these miracles, signs, and wonders, they begin to teach you foreign things, teaching you that you don't have to keep the Torah and to go against those laws, then they are a false prophet and you are to kill them. I mean, nowadays we can't do that, but during that day, it was done deal. So that's why every time they came to him, they would say, ask him a question about the Torah and try to get him to say something against the Torah. Because the moment they get him, they say, "We got you. You're a false prophet." So here they come with something, again, that's sort of underhanded. But a lot of people take it at face value and just say, "Oh, he just was against that part of the Torah right there." Because when you take the stance that Yahshua is saying that you can't divorce and remarry, even though the Torah says that you can, then you're saying that he's speaking against the Torah. But in this case, that's not so. Well, in every case, it wasn't so. So they said, is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause? And he answered and said unto him, have you not read that he which made them at the beginning made male and female? He which made them at the beginning made male and female, and said, for this cause shall a man leave father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and they being two shall be one flesh. Wherefore, they are no more two, but one flesh. What therefore Elohim has joined together, let no man put asunder. So the Pharisees, hearing his answer, this is what they said. They said to him, why did Moses then command to give a writing of divorcement and to put away? Now, the word right there where it says divorcement is a Greek word called apostation. I believe that's how you pronounce it. And it means divorce, forsaking. And it's actually only used 2 times in the Bible. In that one verse right there, and another time in Mark. That's it. So every other time when you see divorce, it's not really divorce. This is the only word that is divorce in the New Testament. It is only used twice. Right here in this verse and in Mark, I believe chapter 10. I believe that's what chapter it was. That's it. And every time that is written in those 2 occasions is accompanied by the phrase to give a writing of divorcement. The other word that has been translated as divorce, which should be translated as put away or send away, is apulio. And it means to set free, to release, to send. So, what they're doing is twisting this argument. Because the argument that they brought up, or the question they brought up to him is it lawful to put away or send away your wife for any reason? Then, when he says, basically, of course not, because basically, once you're married, you're married. Then they come back with Moses and throw in about the get. The get is the bill of divorcement. It's called a get. And what it is the woman's, is done for the woman's protection. Because during that day, men could have multiple wives. And so that's why it doesn't talk about the man getting a bill of divorcement or this paper called a get. But the woman, who everyone in the community knows who's married to this man, if he just sends her away and don't legally do it with a get, saying that they are divorced and separated, and she goes off and marries someone else, that's adultery. because she has no proof that they was annulled. There's nothing to prove it. So technically they aren't. So if she's out there and remarries another, then her and that other person will be guilty of adultery and face the death penalty. So in order to protect her, you have this document called a get that proves that she is legitimately divorced from her husband. So, Yahshua responds to them in verse 8. He says, he said unto them, Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts, suffered you to put away, not divorce. Some of y'all book says divorce, but he's not dealing with divorce. He's still dealing with their original question, which was putting her away. He said, because of your hardness of heart suffered you to put away your wives. But from the beginning it was not so. And I say unto you, whoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, commits adultery. And whoso marries her, which is put away, doeth commit adultery. So what he's saying is, if you went through this, if you had this spirit of jealousy come upon you, or if she was caught in the act, or if something happened where you know without a shadow of doubt that she committed adultery, then you can put her away. But what is putting her away? Putting her away is still not divorce where she can marry someone else. Putting her away is like, I take this box of tissue I use all the time, and then I put it over here, and then when I'm ready to use it again, I'll come over there and get it. But other than that, no one else can use their tissue. And I don't ever have to use their tissue again. It's just over there. I put it away. So that's what Yahshua is saying. If she is guilty of adultery and you don't take her to the judges so she will be killed, then you can put her away. But you, in other words, you're not dealing with her, and nobody else can marry her. She's just there. That's what putting away is. Now, the problem was a lot of these guys, because they couldn't marry over, was with their wives for years, and then their wives got old or older, and then he had some new young wife and wanted to be with her, so they would put the old wife away and wouldn't deal with her no more and would marry someone else. That was the situation that was going on. So that's why Yahshua says if a man puts his wife away and marries another, he's guilty of adultery. And then he got her in a situation where she can't remarry And if she remarries, so he's causing all kind of stuff. Not because she did something to deserve the fate, but because he wants somebody else. I'm going to give you an example that Yahshua may have been thinking of when he was talking to the Pharisees about this. You go to Matthew, the 1st chapter, and go to verse 18. It says, "Now the birth of Yahshua the Mashiach was on this wise. When as his mother Mary was espoused to Joseph, or Miriam was espoused to Joseph, before they came together, she was found with child of the Ruach HaKodesh, or the Holy Ghost." So in other words, she was given to Joseph as a wife, but before he knew her, she was already pregnant with the child of the Ruach, or with Yahshua. Her husband, being a just man and not willing to make her a public example. How so? Well, you got the public example of going through the Sota, because he has no proof. So, and that's what that was, a public example. The woman had to go before the priest. She had to uncover her head. She had to take this dirty water that had a curse dipped in it and drink it. But it says he was a just man, so he did not want to put her through that. But yet, and still, he was still going to do something. It says, so, let's get past the page. It says, so he was minded to put her away. It's the same word. Apulio, put her away privately. Because he knew, that's not my child. Something happened. I'm not going to publicly degrade you, but I am going to put you away in a state where I'm not going to deal with you and nobody else will. But while he thought on these things, behold, the angel of Yahweh appeared to him in a dream, saying, Joseph, son of David, fear not to take thee Miriam thy wife, for that which is conceived in her is of the Ruach HaKodesh. Another example, if you go to Isaiah, the 50th chapter, and verse 1. It says, thus says Yahweh, where is the bill of your mother's divorcement, whom I have put away? He's speaking about Israel. Israel had committed all kind of harlotry with idol worship and so forth and so on. So he said, I didn't give Israel no bill of divorcement, but I did put them away until the moment I come back to bring her back to you. So that's the situation of dealing with putting away and with divorcement. So it's not, oh, you divorced, you can't get remarried because when you divorced her, it wasn't because she committed adultery and da-da-da-da-da, do-do-do-do-do. the person said that really don't understand the text that they're reading, because that's not what it's talking about. That got thrown in when he was answering their question about something else, and they was trying to sidestep. But the question was always about, can you just put her away for any reason? And the reason why they wanted to put her away because they seen somebody else that they wanted to marry. Now, I'm going to close out on this thing with the Sota. It was a story that was told about this woman who had a twin sister. And her twin sister lived in this town that was close to Judea. And the woman was actually guilty of running around on her husband. And this spirit of jealousy came upon him. And he said, I'm going to take you up here and we're going to go through this Sota because I can't prove it, but I just got this feeling. So they on their way up, and she says, before we go there, can I just at least stop and say hi to my sister because it's along the way? So he says, okay. So she stops in with her sister, and she tells her, I'm in trouble. I'm about to go do the Sota, and I'm guilty. So her sister said, don't worry, sis. Change clothes. I'll take your place because I ain't do anything wrong. I'll go up there, I'll take the Sota, pass it with flying colors, and then we can come back and you can go back with your husband. That'll be there. So she said, okay. So they switched places. Went up there. She went through the whole ordeal. Nothing happened. She was vindicated. Came back and seen her sister. And when she saw her sister was happy, like, oh, it worked, sis. And they went to give each other a kiss. And that bitter water was still on the sister's lips. And as soon as she kissed her, the woman, adamant just dropped. So the moral behind that is, you might can fool some people, but you can't fool Yahweh. So with that, what's the conclusion of the matter? Fear Yahweh and keep His commandments. Amen. All right. I guess we got nothing in the back, right? No. Okay. All right. So everyone, please stand for the benediction. Yavareka Yahweh, Vayishmareka. Yahweh Panaweleka, Vikuneka. Yes, Yahweh Panaweleka, Veyasamleka. Shalom. May Yahweh bless you and keep you. May Yahweh let His face shine upon you, be gracious unto you. May Yahweh lift up His countenance upon you and give you shalom. In the name of the Son, shalom. Yahshua Mashiach, we pray. Amen.